Good morning. Welcome to Tuesday morning, the 26th of October. Um, this little first section that we're covering, the law, it is, the section is Kingdom Commands. This first chapter, section in that is entitled The Law. Not so far anyway, have I read more than two out of a section. But I've already read two out of this. And this one is pretty good too, so I'm going to stick with it today from Addison Hodges' Heart. And what I like about reading a book like this for devotions, the diversity of the authors that are selected. This person's a pastor, a college chaplain, and a spiritual director as well. And again, these insights are being drawn out of Matthew 5:17 through 19. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I've not come to abolish them, but to fulfill them. For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter, not the least stroke of a pen will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. Therefore, anyone who sets aside one of the least of these commands and teaches others accordingly will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches these commands will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. Addison Hodges' Heart on this subject. According to his own testimony, Jesus fulfills the Torah. He completes it. But how? It would seem that he means that the Torah becomes complete when it goes into the hearts and lives of his hearers and changes them from the inside out. The Torah is the Jewish word, what they call the law, the Torah. In other words, when it has a real effect in human hearts and changes human lives, it has been fulfilled. Persons become embodiments of the Torah, and the Torah lives in them. This interpretation will be unambiguous in verses 21 through 48 of Matthew chapter 5. There, Jesus will crack through the shell of the law's literal statutes, extracting the kernels of their inner meaning and planting those deep into the motivations and minds of his followers. No longer literal murder, but the anger that prompts it is condemned. No longer simply adultery, but the taproot of lust is dug out, and so forth. In moving the Torah down deep into the inner motivations and passions, Jesus writes the law upon their hearts. This, then, is the very essence of the new covenant. So he is willing to suspend any literal judgments in the case of palpable sin, such as in the account of the woman caught in adultery, sparing the sinner with almost carefree mercifulness. But he doesn't spare in the least, for instance, the interior vice of lust. While contaminating inner drives are concerned, he is ruthless. Where people are concerned, he is generous. The Ten Commandments will get a makeover in the Sermon on the Mount. And in the process, Jesus will not be relaxing the law at all. When Jesus goes beneath the surface and forces us to examine our secret thoughts and scrutinize the unpleasant drives and passions, inward suggestions, and numerous quote-unquote unclean spirits that move us to malevolent behaviors, he is reinforcing the most pure objective of the law. So, in effect, not an iota or a dot of the law, meaning the moral laws, has been compromised by Jesus' radical approach. If the objective of the eternal Torah is accomplished and lives are transformed and human beings learn to live in wisdom, then nothing contained in the law, not even its smallest grammatical marks, have been in vain. The law is fulfilled when people do the commandments as if by nature. In the kingdom of heaven, says Jesus, he who does them, meaning the commandments, and teaches them shall be called great. In the words of Jeremiah's prophecy, God will put his laws within them. They will be transformed from within and thus will naturally grow into righteousness. This describes both Jesus's approach to the Torah, how he interprets it, and how he likewise presents the nature of the kingdom of heaven itself. Love it. Love it. Just had to share that one with us all this morning. It's not about us disciplining ourselves to do the right things. It's about the right things just being in us because we have put our faith in the Lord and are obeying him out of love. We want righteousness to dwell in us. And so we open ourselves up to his law, but we don't obey it because we're afraid. We obey it because there's been a real change and transformation in us, and we're becoming like Jesus every day. Blessings to you today, and may the love of the Lord control your life today.